that dad setup.
Yeah, I like it.
Injury Armageddon this week, huh?
Yeah, big time. Big time. All right. Looks like Hamoud's going to jump on, but we'll just go ahead and get started now. So, football fans, welcome to the NFL Week 7 recap roundtable. This is the Football v. Football podcast. How y'all doing today?
Good, man. Victory Sunday.
There you go. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and start with the recap of the games, and then we're going to finish with the hottest take, the most controversial opinion of the week. But we're going to go ahead and start with the New York Giants beating the Jacksonville Jaguars 23-17. This game came down to 1 yard. Christian Kirk caught the ball at the 1 with a chance to tie and take the lead. And there was an amazing tackle at the 1 yard line. And as Hamoud joins here, the worst 5-1 team in the league becomes the worst 6-1 team in the league.
Figured out a way.
What do y'all have to say about this one?
Yeah, man. You called it. They're now the worst 6-1 team in NFL history. And I think, when a team like that keeps winning, and I say it every week, it's a testament to their coaching. And I think, they're kind of, scrapping their way through some of these wins. I think Jacksonville is probably actually more talented than the Giants, to be quite honest with you. I think they have better weapons. Yeah, it's as much as I have kind of been hating on the Giants a little bit, I have to give them credit. At this point, 6 wins is pretty impressive. So just to get to this point, so that was kind of, and the other point that I wanted to make actually real quick was I'm starting to wonder about Trevor Lawrence a little bit, because there was a point in that game where, towards the end of that game where I was looking at his stat line, which I know isn't always telling, but he was completing somewhere, he was hovering near 40% of his passes, and it's just, or 50%, I'm sorry. And I'm just starting to wonder if, I think it's still too early to call him a bust, but it's just, we give a lot of these other quarterbacks, including from the same class, a much harder time, and it just, for whatever reason, seems like he's getting this pass. So that did kind of stand out to me. It's, when are we going to see or start seeing him make take these next steps? That's kind of what I'm waiting to see from him.
Yeah. Can someone tell me where this game went wrong? I honestly just thought the Jags were going to win this. I mean, it just looked like the Jags were winning it the entire way. They were running it very well. They were throwing the ball very well, it seemed. Even though you're talking about Trevor Lawrence, it seemed like he was delivering seeds there to Christian Kirk and everybody, really. I honestly don't know how the Giants pulled this one off. I don't know when they pulled this one off. The only answer I can think of is Saquon Barkley. But that was a sneaky win by the Giants.
Yeah, it's been Barkley and Dable. That seems to be what the consistent theme for the Giants. I think the key turnover was Etienne when they were driving, and he had a great game, but that fumble was so pivotal. And the Giants did lose Bellinger early. It looked like a nasty eye poke, but it was good that they got Wandell involved early. It seemed like he's a nice little weapon for Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones had a nice little game. But yeah, when it comes down, when it's Giants, it's Barkley and Dable.
Yeah, very, very sneaky game. And all the notes I had on this game were for the Jaguars. Etienne, when he scored his first ever NFL touchdown, I thought, man, this guy is going to have a big day. And then he almost went in for a second touchdown, and they got popped out. That was going to be a touchdown. I mean, they recovered that fumble before it became a touchdown. I thought Evan Ingram.
He did have a big game, though. That's the crazy part.
He did. He ended up overall having a big game, but that fumble was just so bad because it was going to be a touchdown. And I looked at also Evan Ingram. When I see him running routes, he looks like a wide receiver. He doesn't even look like a tight end to me. And then in the beginning of the game, Lawrence and that offense looked very, very sharp. And then as the game went on, there were just like inaccurate passes, drop passes. And really, like you mentioned, it was Barkley, it was Wandale, Robinson. This guy came out of nowhere. And that was it. And it was the defense. And they found a way to win this game. And you know what? That's kind of a theme with these Giants. They don't look like they deserve to win these games, but they win for whatever reason. The little things.
Did you guys know that Daniel Jones had 100 yards rushing this game?
You know, I saw in
It's
pockets.
like insane.
Yeah. There were pockets where they were missing tackles from him, and it was just like maybe like 10 yards here, 10 yards there, 10 yards here, 5 yards there.
How about James Robinson? Is he getting phased out?
If it were up
He
to
already
me,
did.
yeah. I mean, I think Etienne is a better running back. I think James Robinson can still have utility, maybe as a change of pace back. Yeah. But Etienne needs to not fumble there. That to me, that was a difference in the game, that fumble. And then the Giants just knowing how to do the small things to win. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next game. The Carolina Panthers beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 21-3. Early in this game, Carolina didn't go for it on a 4th and inches, and I thought to myself, why would anyone not go for it on 4th and inches early in the game? But then after that happened, they dominated the rest of the game, both on offense and defense. I have more to say about this game, but I'm going to go ahead and let you guys tell me what you saw.
Hey. Stop, Roddy.
What did you guys see in this game? What's up, brother? We're talking about the Panthers beating the Buccaneers.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about two teams who don't matter playing each other, and one of those teams is going to, I don't know, not make the playoffs, and the other, I don't know. Actually, I think the Buccaneers are going to make the playoffs just because of Tom Brady, boys.
What did everyone else see?
I can't agree. I cannot agree right now. Watching Brady not being able. I mean, it's either he's overthrowing his receivers. The receivers are not catching the easy passes. It's horrible football on both sides, even on the defense. The Carolina Panthers looked like they wanted to put on some good tape, and the whole team did. It was a beautiful performance by the Panthers. I mean, now the Buccaneers, a few games in a row, just putting together zero offense whatsoever. Horrible performance by them, and I think you should sell all stock on the Bucs for the season.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I actually barely even saw any of this game, so I probably can't give too much. But I'm a little surprised because I thought that the Panthers would kind of just roll over at this point. But I don't know. Maybe you have a bunch of guys who feel like they have something to prove. Like you have PJ Walker who's trying to show what he can do. Who, by the way, I like as like a capable, kind of second quarterback or something like that. So I don't know. Maybe that's what was going on here. Is that you have guys with pride who are trying to show up and play.
XFL legend PJ Walker.
Yeah.
Maybe the problem with Christian McCaffrey this whole time.
Maybe.
No way. I was thinking my Steelers were like, turning things around, but now that Tampa Bay comes to Carolina and this happens, now I gotta question everything.
Yeah.
Some people say that Tom Brady was under some witchcraft from his ex-wife, and now that she's gone, no more witchcraft, no more W's.
Yeah, there are so many possible explanations for this game. I mean, Tampa Bay offense, like Hamoud mentioned, was inexplicably poor. Like, these are some of the same weapons they've had for these years where they won the Super Bowl, and they're just not connecting. I thought the Tampa Bay defense, overall, I think it's a good defense, but when your team doesn't score for 3 straight quarters, you start to get tired and discouraged. And, when we're talking about possible reasons for this crazy win by the Panthers over the Buccaneers, I thought, one, divisional games are unpredictable. Okay, that's one possible reason. Number two, when there's this level of chaos in an organization, some people have no option but to thrive in the chaos because nothing phases them anymore. Number three, what Roddy just mentioned, which is the Ewing theory, shout out to Bill Simmons, that when your best player leaves, you rally together and you play better. Number four, maybe, like Roddy mentioned also, Giselle is maybe constantly nagging Tom Brady at home, and he's just so frustrated and he just can't get anything done. And, another reason possibly Mercury, Venus, Pluto, all these planets are in retrograde. That's really this was the most shocking win of the season. But anyway, we'll see where it goes from here. I mean, Tampa Bay, I'm very pleased as a fan of a team in the NFC to see them struggle like this. And speaking of struggling, we'll move on to the Washington Commanders beating the Green Bay Packers 23-21. Early in this game, Heineke threw some atrocious passes early in this game. But then, as the game moved on, I have to say Washington is absolutely blessed to have a receiver like Terry McLaurin, and they hadn't maximized his potential until today. Hamoud.
I told you guys if we lost, it would be because of our kicker. I will say our kicker really tried to lose us that game early on. With that said, man, it's just a scrappy quarterback. He just finds a way to get things done, whether it's on offense, whether it's week one, whether it's the playoffs, whether he loses or wins, he really finds a way to keep these games close, make it competitive, and with the Packers offense that just can't cook right now. I mean, our defense looked like the best I've ever seen, and that's just not the case with our defense right now. So the fact that we look that good tells me the Packers are in big trouble. But man, I love watching some Heineke football. That's for sure. That's a true Expo legend right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Gibson, I thought Antonio Gibson made for a great receiver in this game. He had a great catch in the end of the end zone for a touchdown. I think as they use him more as a receiver instead of a running back and they start using Robinson more, I think that's going to be great for their offense. I thought the Packers receivers were so unbelievably bad today, and they have been like this entire year. And I think that's an unsustainable situation. And if they want to accomplish anything this year, they're going to have to trade for a receiver. And yeah, I thought at the end of the game there was some questionable play calling by Washington. I mean, they almost kind of blew this game towards the end. They were throwing the ball with like a lead at the end of the game, and they got sacked. And I don't know, there's all kind of craziness going on at the end of the game. But yeah, what else did you guys see in this game? Any other final thoughts?
Final thoughts? I'll give you my thoughts. Can I share my thoughts, guys? We have a problem on our hands, okay?
What's
If
that?
the Packers are losing to I refuse to call them the Commanders, to the Redskins, we have a huge problem on our hands. This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think the Packers are done, boys. The Packers are done calling it. This is Aaron Rodgers' last season as a Green Bay Packer. He's going to leave. It's looking bad. And as good as the Commanders looked, I just did it. I'm sorry, but I think this was less on how good the Commanders are and more on how bad the Green Bay Packers are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would actually agree with Radia, but I think the Packers' offense, at least, is like it's just not. It's like very disjointed right now. He has a very sloppy relationship with his receivers. Like the connection isn't there, and this kind of big pet peeve of mine is when people keep saying that you can just give these quarterbacks certain quarterbacks any receivers, and they're just making no. Every quarterback needs help. Now there are some quarterbacks who can make guys, but every quarterback needs help. Every quarterback needs a line. Every quarterback needs receivers. Every quarterback needs run. Like I don't care. What you're seeing right now is you're seeing Rodgers with the group that he is not, which is probably why he said, "Hey guys, let's simplify this offense a little bit, and maybe it'll start clicking." I know I said that we'd see that this week. We obviously didn't, so it's something I just keep an eye out moving forward. If maybe they try to do that to kind of, or if they make a move for somebody like a DJ Moore or somebody to try to get this offense going.
Good call. They need him.
Yeah. Big time.
That'd be a great move. Yeah, he needs some help. Man, what happened to A.J. Dillon, man? That was one of my sleepers this year. It's just been disgusting. All the fantasy heads out there, I don't think I can even start him anymore. It's just getting infuriating at this point. But on the other side of the ball, I think the football team, I'm going to keep calling them the football team, They had a really good game plan with the rush, and I think now that they have B-Rob and Gibson going, that's a nice little 1-2 punch. And I think the difference you got to give it to he still looked horrible, but I guess it's just that grit that Heineke has over Wentz that just gives him that scrappy edge. I think that was the difference.
This game convinced me to go take the vaccine, guys. Honestly, I was on Aaron Rodgers' team, but after this, I'm gonna go get every booster available. This is not working out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, man. What a comment. Yeah, I mean, it got so bad that he was using Aaron Jones as his primary receiver. And, A.J. Dillon, I thought his only possibility to thrive is in like a good passing offense, and it's not a good passing offense, so they're struggling big time. It's going to be interesting to see. Again, another NFC team struggling. I'm very happy to see it. But we'll move on to the Baltimore Ravens beating the Cleveland Browns 23-20. I thought Patrick Queen and the Baltimore defense really stood out in this game. They had a couple big tackles for loss, really set the tone. But I thought the star of this game was Gus Edwards, who got a couple touchdowns and led this offense. What did y'all see?
Gus the Bus is a machine, man. Oh my gosh, it's about time he's back, because J.K. Dobbins, I think, was who we were expecting to see in this role. He goes down obviously with his injury. Gus the Bus comes in and steals the show. That's the main reason they got. With that said, by the way, the Ravens were about to give this game away, just like they have for the past few weeks. They really were. I was getting scared there for my prediction. I was like, "There's no way to do this one more time," and they didn't. But they were vulnerable to it. But divisional games, I'll give it to them. They found a way to stay in it, and I think Gus the Bus was really the answer they needed there.
Yep.
How much do the Ravens need a new quarterback or no?
You asking me?
Yeah, they got the W.
Okay, since you prompted this, so the smartest thing that John Harbaugh did, because he noticed what was happening in previous games, is with 7:30 left in the fourth quarter, he stopped letting Lamar throw the ball. Go ahead and look at the play-by-play. They didn't throw a single pass with 7 minutes and 30 seconds left in this game, and that's exactly why they won this game. Not only did Lamar Jackson run, Gus Edwards ran, Justice Hill ran, and Mark Andrews ran the ball. The reason they won this game is because they ran and they took the ball out of Lamar's hands. That's why.
I did not think you were going to be prepared. I got to be honest. Props to you.
Always. But yeah, I mean, talking about the Browns, I thought Jacoby Brissett, he continues to be a gritty player. I think he's like on the cusp of being a starter, but he just doesn't make these big plays at the end of the game.
He's in no man's land. He's a great backup and kind of like an starter.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, moving on to the next game. Cincinnati Bengals beat the Atlanta Falcons 35-17. The story of this game, Joe Burrow, combining both passing and running, had 501 yards and 4 touchdowns. Burrow, Chase, and Higgins, an extremely dangerous offensive trio. What did you guys see?
All right, I'm going to say on the Pick'em show, I said that Jamar Chase kind of broke out of this little funk that he was in, and he carried it over into this game. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect 500 yards from Burrow, but I'm not surprised given the offense, the weapons that they have. I think they've kind of been in a funk to start the year, and now they're kind of starting to break out of it. I don't know if they're Super Bowl contenders, but I think they're a good team. They'll definitely be in the playoff divisional hunt. So yeah, that's my thing for the Bengals. I think with the Falcons, what I keep seeing, and I didn't watch much of this game either, but it's just fascinating to me that they have so many offensive weapons in the passing game, and they're not using any of them. London, Pitts, nothing. I have no idea why they're scheming their offense like this. It might be because they don't trust Mariota, which I kind of understand, but at the same time, you got to figure this out because you can't have like an abundance of wealth at those positions and not use them.
It's a great point by Omar. They were down in this game the entire game, and Mariota only attempted 13 passes. Like, I don't know what Arthur Smith was doing. I guess they don't trust him. And just like I said, last week was funny. Last week, Mariota had that little glimmer of hope, but I still was kind of skeptical, thinking it was going to be Ritter season. I think it's not. It might have. The pendulum might have swung back the other way, and I think it might be Ritter season again. It's just unacceptable. I mean, London had 1 catch, and then Pitts 3 catches for 9 yards. Like, I don't care how much you want to commit to the run. You can't have 2 superstars getting 4 catches total. It's just absurd.
When did London and Pitts become superstars?
Man, Pitt? Yes, that's a fair point, but I think London definitely has a pedigree. First receiver taken in the draft, and he's already showing every catch he makes is pretty unbelievable. It's just he's not getting the looks. And Pitts, yeah, I think Pitts could be potentially overrated, but again, he has like the what are one of those stats, like the air yards? I saw some type of comparison this week where basically he's he's running as many routes and getting open just as much as like Kelsey, but he's just not getting the looks. And we get it. It's the Falcons offense, but you gotta adjust and you gotta make sure your playmakers get some chances at least.
I thought this was one of those games where it's obvious that the Bengals are going to win. They're just clearly a superior team. Yes, Jamar Chase and Burrow played well. Honestly, Burrow's starting to look good. He always looked good, but he looks really good. But this is the Falcons, man. They're a garbage team. That last week win was pure luck. But here's the thing about the Bengals. It doesn't matter how good they are. They will always remain the Bengals. Which means they will not do anything.
I can co-sign to that.
Wow. Getting to the Super Bowl last year wasn't enough.
But they're catching fire, though. They are catching fire.
mean, listen. So you're right. When I look at these passing stats for the Falcons, Pitts, London, and Zacchaeus combined for 51 total yards. 51. Mariota completed only 8 passes all game. 8 passes. I mean, I don't even know like you even look at the rushing statistics. Like how many plays did the Falcons even have in this game? Like, if I were to go back and check, I'm sure the Bengals had possession maybe like 70% of this game or 75%. But one thing I think Atlanta has for them that they can continue to use is they have they're very good at run blocking. So that kind of explains some of the success Cordero Patterson has had. Algiers, I think they blocked for him really well today as well. But one thing I noticed late in this game, when the Bengals were up by 17 points in the fourth quarter, they ran a design run for Joe Burrow. Maybe don't do that. Yeah, maybe don't get him injured, possibly, when you're up by 17 points. But, I think Bengals are starting to heat up and look good. But we'll go ahead and move on to the Dallas Cowboys beating the Detroit Lions 24-6. I thought the Dallas defense continues to look like one of the best in the league. Ahmad Yusuf, talk about your boys.
Yeah. I actually thought that this was going to be – I didn't think that this would be a blowout win. I thought that, Dak, I expected him to look a little rusty in the first half. A couple of throws off here and there. But then we had multiple drives get into the 5-yard line. And then Noah Brown ended up fumbling. The other ended up in a field goal. I think in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, we saw more in sync, being more efficient, the offense being more efficient. So that's good to see, and I hope hopefully it carries over. The story, though, of this game is the defense. The defense, to me, was outstanding today. I think, the Lions' offense is a very explosive, offense driven by it's driven by big plays. The defense pretty much shut that down today. Allowing 6 points of that offense is very impressive. Trayvon Diggs now has 17 interceptions in his last 35 games. Michael Parsons has 20 sacks in his first career 23 games. So I think, the defense today is a story, and I'm very impressed by their performance today. The offense, to me, is hopefully continuing in this trend of kind of getting in sync and revving up as we get into the middle part of the season, which you hope, kind of gets you in a peak at the right time of the season. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Can I share my thoughts? There's no story.
Everybody just jump in.
There is no story, okay? The Cowboys beat a garbage team, all right? That's still, you guys know how much of a Dak hater I am. I don't like this guy. He's got a dumb name. He throws weird. He looks like a backup. I don't know how this guy is a starter in the NFL. He's overpaid. The story is that the Lions are trash, and the Cowboys, they won because they're supposed to win. That's what happened, really. Zeke scored a couple of touchdowns. But, I mean, what do you expect? It's the Lions, man. The Lions are like the city of Detroit. Broken down.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna censor that for anyone listening in Detroit, if anyone's listening there.
The Hard Knocks fever is finally completely worn off, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no fight in them there. I mean, I think for the majority of this game, actually, Dallas was it was a slugfest. I mean, there was nothing going on. Really, Dallas looked bad, which was, I think, the scariest part. At one point, they were down 6-3. I don't know how deep it was in the first half. You're like, man, is Dak ever going to get this thing going? And I don't even know if he did, really. I do agree. I think the defense really gave them a lot of success. The Lions, again, just not good enough to. I think we all guessed it. They're not good enough to compete with Dallas in this game. But did we see anything from Dallas to promise anything good moving forward with Dak at least at the helm? Not yet.
Right. Yeah.
Amon Ra, the sun god, Astaghfirullah, he he went out, I think, in the first drive, I believe, with a concussion. But so they were definitely hurting that receiver. We'll see what happens with Jamison Williams. Williamson. I wonder when he's gonna come off the IR because they definitely need him. But yeah, Amon Ra. I don't know, man. That's a huge loss for them.
Yeah, maybe after this injury he'll change his name to Abdullah, so he's more in line. The Lions' defense in the beginning of this game was hitting hard. They were breaking up passes. They were getting sacks. Hutchinson had an amazing sack on that one spin move to start the game. That was totally unexpected. And then Jamal Williams had a terrible fumble. I think when the game was 6-10, he had a fumble at the goal line with a chance to take the lead. And Dan Campbell, you saw him throwing his headset, and the play before, it looked like the Lions scored, but they didn't challenge it. Just really bad. Really, that's when the game kind of changed. And that coaching moment, I thought, was like really a bad look. And you're right, the luster of the from Hard Knocks is starting to wear off. But yeah, I think that the story of this game is the Dallas defense. But we'll go ahead and move on to the Tennessee Titans beating the Indianapolis Colts 19-10. The Tennessee pass defense was the worst in the league coming into this game, the worst in the league, and they stepped up today. They had 2 interceptions, and I thought that was the decisive factor in this game.
Colts are the Colts,
I told you guys that the reason we feel good about picking Tennessee was Matt Ryan. He threw a pick and a pick six in the first half alone, so I'm not surprised. I'm continue to be amazed at how washed he looks. I did not expect it. I expected him to kind of lead the Colts as being a dark horse. But he looks more like Carson Wentz than Carson Wentz looks like Carson Wentz. So, I don't know.
Terrible.
The Colts are the Colts, guys. They, ever since Peyton Manning, I want to say, they just bottle things like this. They bottle games like this. When they seem like they're making a run, they're not. That was last year. This is. It looks the same. They have the weapons, sure. They have some promising players, sure. Defense got a lot of weapons. Maybe they're a little beat up, but it doesn't change the fact that these Colts cannot put a good game together. at least a good season together for sure. But maybe every once in a while we'll get those Matt Ryan games that he had last week. But Colts very, very down on them.
Matt Ryan is no longer trying. This guy is donezo. Okay?
Yeah.
Tom Brady took this man's soul years ago, and he has not recovered. He should go back home, build a family, and just retire from football. And the Colts, just like you guys said, the Colts are the Colts. Their owner is a drunkard, and the team plays like the owner. Trash. No chance. Look, this is a meaningless game, in my opinion. Two teams that nobody cares about, nobody watches. They don't get any love for good reason.
Yep.
And I don't think anybody here watched the game. Anybody watch this game?
I mean, on Red Zone here and there, but there was a trick play that the Titans ran, and both of these teams don't look that great. There was a trick play that the Titans ran with Tannehill handing off the ball to their backup quarterback, Malik Willis, and it was just the most awkward thing, and they fumbled the ball and they gave the ball away. It was maybe the dumbest trick play I've ever seen, like maybe ever. It was just like stupid, really, really bad. And then my other takeaway from this that we're kind of seeing throughout the season, and this isn't anything new, but these divisional games, you can't even predict them. Like I'm going to stop trying to predict divisional games because there's no kind of precedent, there's no kind of past performance that can predict what's going to happen in these divisional games. So I might stop trying. Moving on to the next game, Las Vegas Raiders beat the Houston Texans 38-20. Josh Jacobs ran like a madman, totaled 155 yards and 3 touchdowns. What did you guys see?
Like you said it, man. It was all Josh. It was a Josh Jacobs show. I did think the Texans looked good. They did look good early, I think, in the game. Davis Mills was tossing the ball really well, but man, Josh Jacobs just wrecked that game from the start to the end. He just didn't stop. I didn't see much of anybody else, really. Devontae Adams, anybody. It was just Josh Jacobs left and right. That was just the fun. Honestly, I just love watching good runs. And Josh Jacobs, I don't know how he went from starting in the preseason to leading the team the way he is. But my God, what a show he put on today.
Josh Jacobs showed out today. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And boy, oh boy, they did not fix it. The Las Vegas Raiders played absolutely amazing. One of the best performances of the year. This team has got a future. However, this future is just disappointment. Having said that, I thought this game was fantastic. I thought both teams showed out, but the Vegas Raiders came out on top.
Yeah. So, Hamoud, you mentioned that Devontae, he didn't score a touchdown, but they were throwing the ball to him a lot. He got a lot of really short. Well, there was a lot of dinks to him, but then he was schooling the Houston receivers the defensive backs for most of this game. The thing that I like about his game is that he gives a lot of effort for yards after the catch, and I find that a lot of big premier receivers don't do that. And while he didn't get into the end zone, if you go back and watch this game, I'm not sure how many catches he had, but I think he had a bunch, maybe 10 double-digit catches or something like that. And he just gives a lot of effort for yards after the catch. And I wish he was in a better offense overall, but Aaron Rodgers could really use him. But yeah, so we'll go ahead and move on to the Kansas City Chiefs beating the San Francisco 49ers 44-23. So I think the story of this game was a combination of the Niners' injuries on defense and then, a vintage Mahomes game, and that was too much to overcome for the Niners.
Yeah, where's Nayef at, man? He for the first half, I was feeling good. I was like, okay. I said that this was going to be a close game, and then the Chiefs would eventually pull away because the Niners can't match the firepower. So I was looking good, and then next thing you know, it's like 40-20 or whatever it ended up being. I've called something like that. So I don't know where he's at, but yeah, I agree with you. This was just another typical Mahomes game. I think, a few touchdowns. I was a little surprised when I woke up this morning and I saw Isaiah Pacheco was starting. Because Edwards-Helaire has not been great, but he's been scoring some points. So I don't know why they did that, but hey, it worked out for them. So kudos to them. I think for the Niners, I know that Jimmy G had that one horrible interception that he threw. He's pretty much due to throw those from time to time. So I think for the 49ers, from their perspective, he'll be okay if they can just keep minimizing how much of the game they put in his hand. They just need to get their guys healthy.
Yeah.
I like the Chiefs a lot, man. I loved watching the Chiefs go. And again, like you said, this is vintage Mahomes. I think even Travis Kelce had a big game. Tight ends in general, I guess national tight ends, they really got it going. But tight ends had some massive games there on each side. CMC looked good. I'm not gonna lie. Watching the game in the beginning, I was like, man, the Niners are looking real strong here. I mean, Jeff Wilson was running it well. CMC came in, ran it well. I thought they were really gonna get going and stay in this game, if not steal a win, honestly. But I don't think so. I have Harrison Butker. I was waiting for a field goal at some point in this game, and it just never happened. It was just touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. It just kept going. It just didn't stop. An absolute beatdown by the Chiefs offense. They're just too good on offense, and I'm glad we get to see them this way, because I feel like every year I feel like, man, they're gonna take a step back here. They're gonna take a step back. Not yet. They're looking like they're gonna make a good run this year.
Yeah. I thought there were big interceptions early on in this game from both sides, from Mahomes and Garoppolo. As far as McCaffrey, they kept talking about how he was asking for the playbook during the flight, like right after he got traded. He's like, give me the 49ers playbook. They kept saying that over and over and over, and I don't know. The media loves McCaffrey, and they were really, really jocking him big time, which was kind of weird. But
I know why they love him.
Why? Yeah, I think I do
Don't say
too.
it. Don't say it.
I think I do too.
Don't say it.
He's a very good running back. That's why.
Yeah, that's
He's
exactly right.
He's more than a scrappy gym rat, though. You have to give him that. He's more than that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was weird. Surprisingly, like Omar said, right before the games, it was Pacheco kind of stole the thunder with the last minute announcement that he was going to be a starter. So of course, everyone got pretty excited about that because he showed a lot of promise in the preseason. He does look like he has a little more burst than CEH, but really didn't do too much with it. So it was kind of a mute point. But what about Mr. Hardman?
Yeah, he was good. Valdez-Scantling was good. Juju Smith-Schuster was good. They were all eating today.
It seems like this was the first game in a while where they got multiple people involved in their offense, because I think both of their receivers, I think Juju and MVS both went over 100, and I think Kelce was pretty much right there too. So yeah, I think this was like a good kind of
Tyreek who?
Yeah. And just a couple of notes in this game. So Kansas City kicked a field goal on third down with 16 seconds left in the half. And that it's like a pattern that they have now of being very conservative end of half. I don't know if that's Bieniemy. I don't know if you guys remember Mahomes and Bieniemy were like fighting like a few weeks ago, and they continue to be very conservative end of half. I don't know what that's about, but that's something to note for later. And Isaiah Pacheco, I agree with you guys. I was a big fan of this guy coming in, and I still am, to be honest with you. And if you looked at some of his runs in that number 10, he looks a lot like Tyreek. I mean, he moves very, very, very quickly. And I don't think even though they started him, they gave a lot of runs to Clyde and to McKinnon, who are both, I think all three of them kind of look like they have the same style, kind of. But I think Pacheco is maybe a little bit faster. He's younger, and so he's more kind of resilient. So I look forward to them, giving him more playing time. I think he could be like a game breaker for them. And if they keep playing this way, they're going to make a big run in the AFC. So moving on to the next game, the New York Jets beating the Denver Broncos 16-9. To me, this is all about the Jets' defense. I think they continue to be one of the best units in the league, along with the Cowboys. What do you guys think?
I wouldn't call the Cowboys one of the best defenses in the league, but yes, the Jets are good.
I honestly, I feel like I've been. Sorry, yeah, I feel like I've been.
No, go ahead.
I feel like I've been robbed, honestly, we've all been robbed from some good football from Breece Hall, I think, for the rest of the season. That is devastating.
Oh, no, devastating.
The guy was, even in that game alone, I just saw him break like a 60, 70-yarder for a touchdown. He is magical when he gets the ball. But, ever since that point, it was all defense. The Jets' defense is locked down. I get they were going against a backup quarterback, but when Cortland Sutton's not getting open, Jerry Jeudy's only running not even slants. He's just running in front of the quarterback's face. Like, hey, just pass the ball. I'm going to be open at some point. They couldn't expect anything else from this game, but the Jets' defense just keeps getting better and better as we go.
Ahmed Gardner showed out again.
Yep, big time.
Yeah, I was those last two drives, the last play, they were both. Gardner was right there on both of those throws. So yeah.
All right, that sucks.
Yeah.
Ahmad, I thought you were going to come at me for saying the Cowboys are not one of the best defenses in the league.
Oh, yeah, man. I was just going to say, I would say that they're one of the best defenses in the league. That's all I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
Not only you, but
nice.
just like statistics would say they're like one of the best. Honestly, like they're like Dallas's defense is just, you gotta watch them, brother. You gotta watch them. They're a very very good unit with a lot of weapons. But another good defense I thought was the Denver defense. They're a pretty fierce defense, and they injured all of the Jets' best offensive weapons. It wasn't only Breece Hall that got injured. Corey Davis got injured, left this game. I think Garrett Wilson also got injured and left this game for a while. And then already Elijah Moore, they're trying to trade him, or he wants to be traded.
He was traded.
He was, yeah. But yeah, man, going back to that final point about Breece Hall, what a huge loss for them, man. After that big run early in this game, I thought with Breece Hall and this defense, just those two, they had a huge ceiling. Their ceiling was getting higher and higher and higher. But man, losing Breece Hall, this is like some damn Jets luck. You know what I mean? Like Michael Carter is not going to be able to do what Breece Hall did. And of course, like I told you guys, I'm a big fan of rookie running backs. And the chances of them getting injured like this for season-ending injuries are low, but never zero. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with this team. And Denver continues to sink. But
maybe they'll get Akers.
Maybe. And then Akers will complain again, and then they'll trade Akers. And I don't know, man. I feel bad for the Jets, but we'll see. Anyway, moving on to the last game of the late window. You guys know what's coming.
Ken Skywalker.
Seattle Seahawks beat the Los Angeles Chargers 37-23 in an amazing game. And I kept all those receipts from the pick'em yesterday about everyone picking against the Seahawks and picking the Chargers. This was an amazing game, guys. And just let me go ahead and riff for a little bit. So Seattle took a 17-0 lead to start this game. And the defense was amazing. They got picks, they got sacks, they got fumbles. And then DK got injured. And Chargers put up 14 straight points. And then I thought, oh my God, this game is going to slip away. But then I remember that this was a Geno Smith revenge game. I don't know if you guys even remember that Geno Smith played for the Chargers. It was one of the 15 teams he's played for before, including Grody's WVU. But he was on fire all game. He was completing 10-yard passes to Lockett and Disley, whatever, and then just yelling at the sideline and celebrating after a 10-yard pass. But Goodwin had a great game. He had 2 touchdowns. Lockett had a bunch of good grabs. But of course, like Hisham mentioned, Ken Walker, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns. I told you that the defense is now aligning with the offense, and look out for the Seahawks.
And Skywalker, man, he's a machine. I mean, even though he got that, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty disappointed in his run when the Chargers got that safety. Seemed like a weak run. Didn't seem like he was motivated to get out of the end zone. There was a little weird to watch. Such a big bruising back, and it was weird to watch. But with that said, made up for it big time. Geno Smith made Marquise Goodwin look like an absolute. Marquise Goodwin has been irrelevant ever since he's been drafted. I mean, all we knew is he's really fast, and that was about it. The guy looked like an absolute monster getting loose behind the receivers. That's kind of what everybody expected from Marquise when he got drafted. Somehow Geno brought that out of him. I don't know, man. It's something. It must be Geno's. The fact that Geno came from where he came from like the pits of the NFL. Is he even going to start ever again? When is he going to be out of the league? To actually start, like, all of a sudden, everybody wants a piece of the Geno magic. Everybody wants a part of it. I mean, they're running the division now. I think we all expected them to be 4th place in that division, and somehow they're number 1. They look like they're the sure number 1 too.
I have 1% left on my battery, so I gotta give this to you.
Okay, go ahead.
You're killing it on the pod. Your Seahawks are killing it. Everything is looking good for you and your squad. You know what you deserve, my friend? You deserve one of these.
Oh my God!
That's what you deserve.
Are you there now?
You earned it, my friend.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Don't get in trouble there, though, man. I know there's some shady stuff that goes on at massage parlors.
I'm gonna keep it clean.
Nice. Absolutely. Yeah,
Don't
definitely.
Be Kraft out there.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man.
All right, boys, my boy's gonna die, so I gotta walk out early. My sincere apologies.
Roddy, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you jumping on, man. Thank you.
All right, boys.
Enjoy that massage. No happy endings. Awesome. All right. But yeah, any final thoughts on this game?
I think so. I'm real quick on the Seahawks. I think I'm starting to kind of come around to the idea of this being a good team. I think, the first month or so, you're kind of feeling it out. I feel very differently about them than I do about, like, the Giants, for example. I kind of joke about it, I know, but I think the Seahawks at this point, I can say are, they look like Hamoud was saying, they look like they can win that division, like, legitimately. I think for the Chargers, man, like, I don't know. It's something like, it's like I'm expecting them to take this next step, like, constantly. And, I mentioned before that I like, I'm a big Justin Herbert fan. I think, other than Dak, other than my guy, Herbert's my favorite, non-Dallas quarterback. I don't know what it is. It's like something always happens. They lose these games. So, I don't know. Are they cursed? I don't know. Maybe they need to go back to San Diego at this point. But something's up with them. And it's just something that I'm going to keep an eye out for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Coming into this year, I was like the biggest Herbert truther. I even consider potentially maybe ranking him number 1 over Josh Allen. Crazy, I know. I'm just like a huge Herbert fan. So this season's been pretty tough. I think the rib injury definitely maybe put a little crack in his armor, and then pour one out for DK Metcalf, and then likewise on the other side, devastating with looked like Mike Williams might have either messed up his knee or potentially broke his ankle or something like that. But he couldn't even put any weight on his leg. That would be a tremendous loss. I think Keenan Allen actually retweaked his hamstring. They didn't even have Jordan Palmer in this one because he had a concussion last game. And watching this game, this is a game I actually watched really closely. Everett, just it shows why teams never stick with him. he'll always make a couple good plays, but then he always makes boneheaded plays. Every game you see it. He runs the wrong route. He gets tired. They have to take him off the field. He's just never consistent ever. He's a good tight end, great athleticism, but this was a smash matchup, and let me see what he ended up with. He had a good game for a tight end, but it could have been a lot better. But they're going to need him more than ever now. And Eckler just dominating. But K9, rookie of the year maybe they're calling him K9 because he's a dog.
Oh yeah.
He might be now that Brees is hurting. He might be a contender for rookie of the year. Just his cuts are ridiculous. Just like on a dime, and it's pretty remarkable.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. No, the injuries in this game. NFL is a brutal league, man. I mean, DK. Hopefully, he's not out for the season. It didn't look like the play on that jump ball. It didn't look like anything really big happened. Hopefully, it's just something small. But you're right. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, but then also J.C. Jackson, their best cornerback, maybe one of the best defensive players. Big signing, carted out in an air cast. Chargers have some bad energy, man. That team might be cursed for some reason. But yeah, Seahawks, number 1 in the division. You love to see it. All right, fellas. Well, we're at the end of the podcast here where we like to give our hottest take of the week, your most controversial opinion. And I'll go ahead and get started, and you guys can jump in after. So Robert Saleh used to be with the Seahawks. He kind of started off early in his career with the Seahawks during the glory days. And the Jets already have 8 interceptions on the season, which matches their total from last year. Ahmed Gardner, LaMarcus Joyner, DJ Reed, Jordan Whitehead. I think that they are the best defensive back group in the league. I think Robert Saleh is recreating his own Legion of Boom. Do you guys have any hot takes?
Spot on.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards a really interesting one here. I don't. It's not going to be a famous one, but first of all, I don't know what happened to Jamar Chase after that game. I don't know. I know he got hurt during the game. I don't know how serious it is, but continuing on from this performance this week and the past few weeks, actually, I think there's a good reason to believe there's a resurgence of Tyler Boyd. I don't know if you guys recall when he really took over that Bengals offense. Him and Dalton really after AJ Green kind of just went through that rally of injuries. I think Tyler Boyd makes a lot of noise in that Bengals offense and leads them into the playoffs. Actually, with Joe Burrow, he'll take a nice good step ahead of Higgins here all of a sudden. And again, depending on how long Chase is out for, I think he plays a big role.
Okay.
So it's not really a hot take, but since we kind of talked about this a little bit, but again, I do not understand why the 49ers traded for Christian McCaffrey. They did not need to do this. So my take here is that this was a huge misallocation of resources. Shanahan has proven that he can have elite rushing schemes, elite rushing attacks without elite running backs. And I know Begnead doesn't even think elite running backs exist, so that's fine. And I think he didn't need to do this. Giving up that much for him, when you factor in his history of injuries, when you factor in his contract, I think was a major L. I think he'll be fine. I think he can play. Even today, he was averaging 5 yards a carry almost. I think he's fine. It's just you can't rely on it. And I think, you could have used, if you were going to trade for something, you could have used that and, and gone after something else that you may have needed at other spots, and maybe have tried to get a different running back for less money or less less of a haul, like a Cam Akers or something, who obviously isn't as good as McCaffrey, but it doesn't matter because you can make him look almost as good.
Exactly.
So
agreed.
That's kind of my point about that.
Agreed. We'll finish off with Hisham because I think we only have a couple minutes left on this call. So Hisham, you have any other takeaways?
You forgot about Rashid Shaheed.
Oh yeah, from the Thursday night game. It was so long ago. Yeah.
That the Ummah is killing this week, man, with Bilal Muhammad and Islam.
Yeah.
Ahmed Garner, Robert Saleh.
Amazing.
My hot take, I think I might just be clamoring for it, but I'm going to say the Falcons turn to Ritter next week at home. My hot take will be they announce it like midweek, but I just have a vibe that maybe Mariota is going to not do great, and they're going to go to Ritter.
Okay, I like that.
I think he's going to do. I think he's going to do well. I was a big fan of his. A lot of pundits thought he wasn't that accurate. Kind of similar vein to like Josh Allen, but I think he's accurate enough, and he's got 4.5 speed, so he can definitely get out of the pocket and scramble like Mariota can. But I think he's just going to keep his eyes downfield a little bit more and hit. Oh yeah, he's a great middle of the field thrower. So I think he's going to improve with London and Pitts a lot, and I think the offense is just going to get a lot more juice. And I think he's a great quarterback. Actually, I'm a big fan. I think Ritter is going to show out.
Absolutely. Only way they can go is up. All right, guys. Thank you all for joining today. This has been the Football v Football podcast. This has been the NFL Week 7 Recap Roundtable. Follow us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, and Ko-fi. All the information is down below. Thank you, Omar Yusuf. Thank you, Hisham. Thank you, Hamoud. And have a fantastic day, football fans.
Thank you, fellas.